Hi all, my name is Hannah and I'm the C5 Nut. Today we're going to do a bit of electronics and show you the tricks of the trade, is what I like to call it anyway. I know some of you are quite puzzling on how I converted that C5 hydro pump to obviously make it do what it needs to do. So today I'm not going to tell you exactly how I've done it, because obviously it's my own electronics. It's something I like to keep to myself, but I will show you some of the components I have used for that project, so you can actually make your own sort of electronics to do whatever you need it to do. Just so you know, I know not everyone who watches this sort of video is electronically minded, and I totally understand that. My background is when I was really small, my parents actually let me buy bits from car boot sales, anything electrical, and I basically just took it apart and just see how things work, which basically gives me the knowledge of what I have now. I went to boarding school, and at my school we did electronics, so I did GCSE electronics, which was quite entertaining. Getting more in depth with electronics. And that's how I ended up today. I do quite a lot of electronics in my current role. I used to work on brand spanking new motorhomes, but the company has now decided to go a different direction. So my electrical sort of bits and pieces is a bit uncertain exactly what I'll be doing at work, but with this current climate, I'm not entirely sure what, anything can happen really. But yeah, so today, like I said, I'm going to show you the tricks of the trade that I know of, and obviously that can help you with your projects at home or anything you've got any ideas with. Now, I've got a couple of test pieces that I will show you, and how you can improve certain things, especially at home. All the components that I have are mainly from eBay, but some other adapters like power supplies. This is an old laptop power supply that's kicking about. These are always useful. And we all have, somewhere in our houses, a box or one or two of these kicking about. Now, to someone, this is just junk, not worth anything. It's just, what's the point of having it, sort of thing. But what I'm about to actually show you, this is actually worth keeping. Right, so to start off with, these are the little units that I'm using. This one is a DC to DC converter. So you put in your 12 volts into this little device, which then gives you a voltage range from, I've got it written down, so if you put 12 volts in, literally from 12 volts down to 3 volts. They're quite useful for the USB side of things. I've got a little USB fan. Now, quite a lot of people have these, and I think you can get them from like Best Buys or the pound shop. Any sort of places like that tend to sell these USB fans. Now, what you don't realise is, even though this is 5 volts and USB is 5 volts, as soon as you plug it in, because of the load of this fan, the voltage actually drops a lot lower. It drops, I did some testing last night, and this fan, even though the power supply is set to 5, it actually dropped down to about 3.7 volts. So that's probably like half, well, just about 40% of the power that, is, basically needs. So by using the little voltage regulator, you can actually boost the efficiency of this fan. So from being a complete novelty, it just sits on your desk and you just see it moving and you don't get any satisfaction out of it. By the time you put it through that, and you can adjust these, all of these are adjustable. You just need a small flat-headed screwdriver. There's a little screw on the top, and you can just adjust the voltage to whatever you want it, and it's quite happy powering it. Now the one that I use for this fan will produce up to 2 amps. This fan only needs about half an amp, so it doesn't need a lot. But I actually run this near enough about 6.7 volts, so it's a lot higher than what it was actually designed for. But I find that when you actually take it up to the 6.7 volts, this fan is really, really, really good. I'm so impressed by it, just by doing that slight modification. Absolute wonderful. But like I say, it's crap if you just plug it in to a standard adapter. But when you put it through one of these, this thing kicks ass. I mean, I'm over the moon with this. Right. So that's the step down type voltage regulator. Now, strangely enough, I have somewhere on my bench another one which is called a StepUp power supply. So even though with this one you put 12 volts in and you can get as minimum down to 5 or 3, this one, if you put 12 volts in, you can always take it up to about 35 volts, which is the opposite to that, which is perfect really. So parts of my C5 hydro pump does have a few of these in. That's what I use to make certain components work quite happily, especially the step down one. I will be using a lot more of these over the next couple of months. The sensors on the C5 run at 5 volts, but some of the components in the hydro pump actually run at 12. So in order to actually make the sensor work with the pump, you need something like this. So always make sure you got quite a few of these, and obviously the StepUp. Now the price difference, the step down, I looked on eBay this morning and I was actually quite shocked on how much you can actually buy them for. The step down ones are £1.79 with free postage. £1.79. That's just like, what? £1.79. So what can you say? If you went down to B&Q to get some special adapter that you need for your special phone, or like a hair trimmer or something, that could probably set you back like 15 quid. But if you got one of these kicking about at home not doing anything, and you put one of them for it, you save yourself a lot of money. Both of these cost together, call it £2, compared with 15 quid for some charger that you're only going to use probably once a year. So stupid. Right, the step-up transformer, or the step-up voltage regulator as it's sometimes known, is slightly more expensive, but not much. Today on YouTube, these are about £2.56 with free postage. And these can go all the way up to about £12. It depends if you're willing to wait for a few weeks, or if you want it right now, then obviously you would have to pay a little bit more. You can get these on Amazon. There's so many different places where you can buy all of these. Yeah, whoever invented them, thanks mate, you're a lifesaver. Right, so let's get this show on the road. Okay, so I've got two near enough identical transformers. They produce the same amount of power, which is 12 volts at 1 amp. One of them goes through a step down transformer with a USB port on the end. The other one goes through a StepUp transformer with just a piece of wire on the end, and all I've done is just connected the wires together. Now, if you've been watching my YouTube channel lately, you'd know that a previous project that I did was turn an Apple computer into a cat bed. So what we're going to do today is use that, strangely enough, that poxy little fan that was on that computer. We're going to do some testing on this. Now, this fan is rated at 12 volts, and I think the ampage is probably about half an amp, which is the sort of same ampage as this one, but obviously this is 5 and this is 12. Now, I know these are rated at certain voltages, but with doing a couple of tweaks here and there, you can actually get these fans to be a bit more energy efficient than what they are. So just by giving them a little bit more of a boost, you get these sort of working a lot better than they are just running at 12 volts. Right, so let's have some fun. Right, I've actually made, just before I actually go into it anymore, this is my multimeter. It's looking a bit sort of worse for wear at the moment. I use this quite a lot at home, and the battery inside, I was forever changing it, you know, and it just got a pain to the point of I'm fed up of taking this thing apart just to change the sodding battery. So I had an old remote control car, and the actual transmitter had a nice decent battery, which is this red thing, and it's rechargeable. So as long as I charge this up probably once every 3 months or so, that will last me quite well. And then obviously all I've got on the other end is some crocodile clips, and yeah, let the fun begin. Right, for testing obviously the USB leads, you can get one of these, what's known as a charge doctor, which is a USB plug. So you know, you plug your USB in, and you can then plug, say like your phone charger or something, into the other end of it, and it will give you a voltage reading and an ampage reading, so how many amps it's actually taken out. The only thing that this thing drives me nuts is it fluctuates between voltage and current, you know, quite a lot. So you're trying to set these DC-DC converters up, and obviously you need to be precise, and it's a bit of annoying when that keeps changing, you know. So I basically took an old USB extension lead, cut it in half. I mean, you know, I've got plenty of them as it is, which is that there, and all I did was just add a bit of a wire on the end of it, which means I can connect my multimeter straight to the clips, like so. And when I am adjusting these DC to DC converters, I can actually concentrate properly on what the voltage is. You know, sometimes if you can't buy them, you just got to make them. Right. So I won't show you the voltage reading on my multimeter, only because I'm still using my camera and I still haven't worked out how to put everything the other way. So what can I say? But hopefully soon, as soon as my parts come from my camera, I will be sorting much better content out regards to, you know, you can actually see what it says on the multimeter rather than it being backwards. So yeah, I'll do my best what I can, guys. But right, enough of me twitching on. I think it's about time I showed you some stuff. Right, so let's try the USB one first. Trust the extension lead. Now the DC to DC step down voltage regulator, which is what it's called, kind of like it because it's got a nice little blue LED on it, which is something that the StepUp one doesn't have. So I'm not entirely sure why they didn't put an LED in there, but I guess there is some reasons behind it. So right, where's this fan? Alright, let's plug that in. Alright, now like I said, this fan was pretty crap just by plugging it into a phone charger, but putting it through them, spot on. There's a lot of airflow coming out of that. Yeah, it's actually doing its job. Like I said, I got it rigged up to about 6.7. Not bad at all. You could get it a little bit more, but if you put too much power on it, the fan starts to overload and you then get the opposite effect. So you just got to find the right balance between too much power and too little power. So that's that one. Now the other one, I think I will use my multimeter, only because I'm very nervous about the wires touching. So I can actually use the multimeter to hold these wires apart. Alright, so that one goes on that one. That one goes on that one. Right, let's plug that in. Right, I set it up to where it's supposed to be. Not entirely sure if you're going to see it just yet, but just so you know, with these fans, there's normally 3 wires. There's normally an earth, power, and sort of like a signal wire. Now all the signal wire does, depending on the actual fan, it will either tell you temperature as the temperature of the air going through, which I think this one does. It's got a little temperature sensor there. But the other ones are actually speaker. It's almost like a rev counter in a car. It actually tells you the speed of the fan. So there is 2 different types of this, but the one we want to focus on today is the earth and the live. So plug this one in. Now this is quite a powerful fan. It's rated at 12. Not entirely sure if you're going to see this, but we're just going to try it anyway. I currently got it on at... Nah, everything's all backwards. I've actually got it on about 14.5 volts. And again, there's a lot of airflow coming from that. So, ideas, people. We're not entirely sure what our summer's going to be like. but I know our fluffy friends are going to struggle in the heat. So if you can afford the money, buy yourself an aircon unit. If you want to get a little fan, perfect, yeah, that will do, nice fan. But if you want to go one step further, there's no harm in using parts like this. I might even install this into the old cat bed that I made the other day. Yeah, it's amazing what you can actually find in parts. Microwave is a better one, the microwave. There's so much good parts in a microwave. I mean, you can find switches, you can find transformers, you can find mechanical timers depending on which make and how old the microwave is. There's lights. The worlds are endless when it comes to microwaves. You can make anything, even welders. So that might be worth checking out on eBay. Not eBay, bloody YouTube. Yeah, there's quite a few people who actually made arc welders out of microwaves. So anyway, people, I will put some links into the description regards to where you can actually find all these parts. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you lasted this long, give yourself a thumbs up. Yeah, if you like my content, please subscribe. And if you wish to have more information or notifications on when I upload my next video, please tick the bell. And for all you people out there, stay safe and take care of yourself. See you soon.